jointed it. If it's a solid piece of wood, I'm going to set this at 4 1/16. The reason I'm adding an extra 16th is I'm going to go back and joint that 16th off to get another smooth edge. Because when you cut with a table saw, you'll get burn marks like this from the blades. You'll also get saw marks on the wood. We don't want those. We don't want to sand those all the time. So we join them, take them off, and it'll be good. So, have this set. Definitely going to use the guard. We're going to check our blade height. Okay, make sure the blade height is correct. We want to make sure we have a push stick in reach because we are cutting where our hands would be closer than 4 inches. Okay, we're going to stand to the left, not in the kickback zone. So, we're going to turn the machine on. Make sure our good edge is against the fence. The left hand has to hold it flat against the table and push it against the fence as the right hand is pushing it through. So you start cutting, grab the push stick, left hand goes away, and you start cutting it through. Now right there it's cut in half, but we don't let go because that board we want to kick back. You gotta push that all the way out the back side. Okay? Do we reach in and move that strap piece? No. Wait for the machine to come to a complete stop. So you turn the machine off, and you can just look under there. Wait for that machine to come to a complete stop. Blade's no longer turning. You can remove your scrap piece and get your other piece. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate cutting without the guard. We need to cut a narrower piece. The guard's in the way, does not allow for that push stick, so that's not safe. So the guard has been removed. We pretty much follow the same rules, except there's no guard on there. So, again, turn the machine on, good edge against the fence. This hand stays back, hold the board down against the fence. You start cutting. You get on here, you get your push stick. Left hand goes away. Again, cut through, but you want to push out the back side. Turn the machine off. Wait for it to come to a stop. Once it's at a stop, you can get both of your pieces. So I just demonstrated ripping with the guard and without the guard. I will show you cross-cutting with the miter gauge really quickly. Even though we don't do it that often, I will show you that because we do that. So we need the miter gauge and we need a piece of wood here. So, let's say I want to cut a piece at 16 inches. 16 inches. Line it up with the blade. Do I cut? What's wrong with this picture? No guard. Okay, you don't do this without the guard. So, really quickly, take the splitter out, put the guard in. Where to cut. Well, you can raise this up, get that located, bring this down, turn that off. Remember, do not use the fence or miter gauge together. Then you can push it across and you cut your piece. Turn this off, wait for it to come to a complete stop, and then you can reach in here and take the scrap piece out. Okay, so that's cutting with the miter gauge. If I wanted an angle, I would do it exactly the same. I would just turn this at an angle. Okay, we moved over to our sliding table saw. It has a sliding table here. We use this for cross-cutting, solid wood, squaring stuff up, or if we have long, narrow stuff that doesn't process through the regular table saw easy, it'll be done on this one. Parts are the same. Okay, you've got your table, your work surface, your blade guard. We don't use the regular fence on this one. We use this fence, which is attached to the sliding table. You still have a tilt wheel, power switch, the tilt scale, the blade height adjustment, and the other miter gauge, but this is like a miter gauge. So for this one, you know, if you're going to cut something, you would line it up with your mark, wherever that is, put this back down, turn it on, and run it across. except this is much smoother and bigger. So when we're cutting bigger boards that we could do this to on the miter saws, we'd use the miter saws. But if they're too wide for the miter saws, we come to the sliding table saw. Okay, so you'll learn more about this junior and senior years in the classroom, what we use it for, so on and so forth. Okay, we moved over to our fourth table saw. This table saw we use to do dados, rabbets, and grooves. So it has a Dado Head Cutter on here, which I'll explain a little bit more in a minute. But going over the parts are the same. It does have a different type of guard. But first of all, you have your table or work surface. Keep it clear. All the stuff you're working on goes over here. Blade guard, because we're not cutting completely through something on here, we can't use one of the other blade guards. We use one that floats over the top. Okay, so that's your guard. Fence, same as the other fence. Tilt wheel's the same. Power switch is the same. Tilt scale's the same. Blade height adjustment wheel's the same. And then we do have a miter gauge here too, which we will use here, and I'll demonstrate that. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate several things here. I'm going to show you what a Dado Head Cutter is. I'm also going to show you how to take a blade off and put a blade on. So we take the cover off, okay? We're going to put a wrench down here to keep the arbor from turning. And then we're going to take another wrench and we're going to take the nut off that's on this side. And you pull towards the front of the machine to take that off. So the first thing that's going to come off is the nut. Okay, nuts full sawdust. Second thing that's going to come off is the washer. Now I'll take the Dado Head Cutter apart. It's a series of blades. You have this one, which is an outside blade, and then you have these that are called chippers. Okay? And you have chippers on here to give you the width to whatever you need. And you got the other outside blade. Okay? We want to set up to do a 3/4 wide dado. You guys know what dados are because you've seen that in previous wood joint videos. Okay? So, you start with an outside blade. At first look, you think these are exactly the same, but they're not. Okay, one, the teeth goes that way, and one teeth goes that way. But other than that, they look the same. You want to start with one that says this side out. So if I put this on, this would not be right. This side is out, but the teeth are pointing the wrong way. You want the teeth pointing towards you because it cuts towards you. So we would start with this outside blade. We put this back on. That gives us 1/8 of an inch in thickness. We want 3/4. 3/4 is 6/8. So that's 1/8. Then we're going to take a chipper with the tooth pointing towards us, and we're going to put a chipper on. The important thing here is you want to make sure the tooth of the chipper is between two teeth on the outside blade. You don't want them touching. Okay, we're now at 2/8. Take another chipper, put it on, and now we want to make sure that this tooth is halfway between these two teeth. Okay, so now we're at 3/8. Take another chipper. I'm going to line this one up with the first one. Okay, you see that they don't touch. We're at 4/8. Going to take this one, put it on here, and line it up with the second chipper right there. We're at 5/8. Then I'm going to take the outside blade, it says this side out, and the teeth are pointing towards us. Put that on, and I want to make sure that that last chipper tooth is in a gap on those blades. Then we put the washer back on, and we put the nut back on. And we tighten going away from us. So I'm going to spin this away from me and tighten it. Then I'm going to take this wrench, put it back on the arbor so the arbor can't spin. And then I'm going to take this wrench, oops, that's going the wrong way, and put it on there and tighten it going away from us. Now, you might have noticed that some of these chippers move. That's okay. They're still not touching the other blades or teeth of the blade, so that's good. So we have set that up for 3/4. You've seen how to take a blade on and off. Put that back in, and now we're set for 3/4 of an inch. So I want to put a dado. Dado goes across grain, 1.25 inches from the end, just like our hand tool one. 3/8 deep, 3/4 wide. We're already set at 3/4. When I take this fence is different. The scale's different than the other ones. This one measures from the fence to this side of the blade, where the others was between the fence and the blade. Because this always is a stationary part. I could change the width of this dado, but that will always be the same spot, okay? So I have that set at 3/4. I want 1.25 inches in here, so that equals 2. If I set this at 2 inches, I got a 2 inch. 2 inches from there, 1.25 inches there, 3/4 wide. Now, there is no magical setting for the height, so we want to start low. What I'll do is on our board here, I will put a mark at 3/8, so I'll know when I have my depth correct. Now, if I try to run this without the miter gauge, this is going to move, kick, very dangerous. So we will use the miter gauge because we're not cutting anything in half. There's no loose parts. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate this with the guard up so you can actually see what's going on. Turn this on, squeeze this tight, go across here, and we have a dado, but it's not the correct height. So, I'm going to raise it up a little bit. So you just saw me make an adjustment without the machine being off. Slight adjustment to the height is fine for this. Run it again. Look at it, still not high enough. I can do this with the guard down now that you've seen what we're doing. Still not quite to our depth line. And there we are, 3/8 deep. So there's a dado, 1.25 inches to it, 3/4 wide, 3/8 deep. Okay, so I just demonstrated the dado going across grain. I'll just demonstrate making a groove going with the grain. I'm going to use the same setup. Okay, except the groove goes this way. I do have to keep the guard up so I can get the push stick groove. So that's a groove. The groove goes with the grain. Alright, so demonstrated the dado, the groove. Now let's demonstrate how to do a rabbet. When we do a rabbet, we use this auxiliary fence, keep it flush with the back of here, and then we have these clamps. Clamp fits in the hole, tightens right here, fits in that hole, tightens right here. Okay? Now, this is 3/4. Let's say we only want a rabbet that's 3/8. We have this notch so that we can take this over the top. And we look down here, we have 1 blade, 2 blade, 3 blades. I always go a little bit less than I think we are because I can always adjust it to it, but if we go too wide, can't fix them, okay? And then let's say we only want to be 1/4 inch deep. So I gotta lower this because this was at 3/8. All right, so using miter gauge, we will do a rabbet on this end. Now remember, I wanted to be only 1/4 inch deep. Right there, okay, and then I want to be 3/8 wide, which I will measure. So, there's our rabbet. We know it's a rabbet because it's on the end, not quite deep enough, so I can raise that up a little bit, rerun it. Okay, I'm up to my line. More. Alright, so we got our depth right. Now we need to check the width. We want it to be 3/8, and we're 3/8. Okay, I've done this enough, I get pretty close. So there's a rabbet on the end of the board. We can also do rabbets on the edge of the board. Since that has a knot, I'll do it here. Dado Head Cutter. Makes our dados, rabbits, and grooves. And with that said, newbie out.